Halftime, and the Houston Oilers holding to a 28-17 lead on the Denver Broncos. And let's see what John Elway goes to. They have that very diverse playbook, Don Criqui, with Bob Golick and Coach Shanahan. Well, you spent some half times with him in the locker room. Is he loquacious? Does he have a lot to say?
Not really. I mean, he's one of those guys that really relies on his assistant coaches. He likes to get in there, find out what was going on, analyze the pictures, those still videos that they look for, all the formations, check tendencies. But the one thing we found out about Shanahan is that when he goes into every game, he pretty much comes in with a new type of offensive attack.
Well, he's going to need all his playbook in the second half because the Oilers are having their best offensive day since they beat Cleveland 37-10.
And you know, we've been waiting for this Oiler offense to explode. Rodney Thomas having a very good season so far, but right here on this run, what a way to start the game. And he's really has set the tempo for the Oilers offense. Brought down by Lionel Washington. They gave him the touchdown. And again, the other big star of this game, the big play man receiver, Chris Sanders, working against Lionel Washington. Great position, great control of his body. Nice catch.
As we check now the Coors Light halftime stats, Houston with 281 total yards offense in the first half. Turnovers have been a factor. Time of possession, I don't know who that means a great deal to, but
it's not really significant, but both teams really generating a lot of yardage.
Score usually is the most important of those bottom line numbers, as we have Mel Gray turning the corner out to the 30. Now he's thrown back at about the 27. There's been good special teams coverage for the most part by the Denver Broncos. This time it was Ray Crockett who made the stop. As you see, the very impressive numbers of quarterback Chris Chandler, a big strong-arm passer from the University of Washington, who's the son-in-law of the former 49er great and later an NBC broadcaster, John Brody.
Yeah, but look at the possessions for the Oilers in the first half. Out of the 6 possessions, 4 touchdowns. The only one that really, then they have a halftime, but the fumble is the only thing that stopped them from scoring a touchdown. What an incredible offensive surge by the Oilers in the first half.
Denver looking to get the ball back now. We could have one of those great Elway games in the fourth quarter as Denver gets off to a fast start defensively. James Jones shut down the runner Rodney Thomas. 2nd and 12.
And set up very well by Steve Atwater, who came up and filled, made the back cut back, and James Jones there to come in strong and break it up. But right now, the Denver Bronco defense, they know that they've got to do something to break the rhythm of this offense. They know Chandler is a guy that possibly they can rattle if they can get to him a little bit. So look for the Broncos to maybe start bringing some people, get some heat on Chandler.
They bring people there, but Chandler gets the ball away and gets it downfield to Roderick Lewis, a big tight end who takes a hard hit from Tyrone Braxton, hangs on. And the ball will be positioned, let's see, about the 39-yard line. It'll be very close to a first down. They might have to measure. They're going to.
Yeah, you're right. Braxton gave him a pretty good shot, but Lewis took it, stood back up, looked like he wanted to keep running.
On the other side of the ball, it's interesting, Bob, that the Houston defense, which is 2nd in the AFC and 4th in the NFL, allowed Kansas City only 182 total yards last week. So this defense is rising to its best levels when Elway and the Broncos get the ball back. They're going to continue to have a tough defense to move it on. Right now, the Oilers with an 11-point lead, 28-17. As we start the third quarter, the Jets holding to a 13-0 lead over Seattle. Seahawks had won 3 straight for the first time in a number of years. With the first down, Chandler drops to throw again. Stands in the pocket, lofts a long ball. Defense is holding him, but no call. Well done by Steve Atwater. Something was going on there, Bob, because Wycheck, all of a sudden, he looked like he was running in sand.
Well, Wycheck was running an out and up. He was matched up on Atwater, as he's been done most of the day. You can see it on the right side of your screen. But as Wycheck turned up, Atwater was right in his face and broke the rhythm and broke his stride. As you can see, Chandler expecting him to be much farther downfield.
Oilers now come out with 2nd down and 10. In their previous 2 games, their offense has only scored 1 touchdown in each game. But in the first half, Houston with 28 points. Same play. He broke it for the distance. Turns to the outside. Gets ahead. It's a Oiler first down to the 47-yard line of Denver. Atwater got him.
And the Oilers, really, they came out with trips to their right. 3 wide receivers rotating the defense mostly to the right side of the field. Thomas running back weak side, so all the defenders have to react back. Atwater being the guy to get back in time to make the play, but not after a big gain.
Rodney might have hit his head harder out on the artificial turf. This is a field that, of all the terrible artificial turf fields in the league, this is as bad as any. Players hate to play on it. Here we go. Gary Brown weaving himself straight ahead. Previous time he had the ball was on that swing pass, which he was hit and fumbled on. Britt Hager makes the stop as they retape the left ankle of Rodney Thomas, running back for the Oilers.
I'm going to say as he's tackled here as he plants, he's trying to catch himself, and you see him twist his ankle as he's trying to keep his balance going out of bounds. But obviously he's up and he was moving and walking well coming off the field. Just put a little extra tape on there, spat up those shoes a little bit, just make the shoes look good, tighten up the ankle.
Nice numbers. 74 coming on the touchdown run by Thomas. Second down. Chandler and the Oilers need 4. They go to Gary Brown. And he is shut down a couple of yards short of a first down. Tyrone Braxton, the strong safety, coming up to make the play.
Good job by Braxton and coming up and making a nice hit on Gary Brown. Gary Brown is, you know, it's a good thing that he was there and available for him. Rodney Thomas twisted his ankle. It's nice that they're going to have that 1-2 punch. But the one thing that Jeff Fisher's told us about Gary Brown is we got to get him back in the game. We got to start getting him some snaps. Because if not, his mind is not going to get back into this game. They want him to be a part of this offense.
He can be a big part. Back in '93, remember, he rushed for over 1,000 yards starting just 9 games. Gary Brown came off the bench to have a terrific year. And that is a very good assessment of him. He really has to get a lot of work to be productive. He's not a spot player. Wycheck makes his 4th catch of the day, and he has a Houston first down to the 35-yard line.
Well, once again, they go to Frank Wycheck. And, you know, what we've seen in the past with Wycheck, if they start going to him early in the game, he becomes a guy who is one of their possession-type receivers. They're not a lot of yardage, but enough for the first down.
Frank Wycheck, a very good pickup. This is his best game of the season. 51 yards and 4 catches so far today, and they'll get more the way this offense is running. Gary Brown looking for room, and he gets inside the 35-yard line. Good run defense, though, by the Broncos, led by linebacker Dave Wyman, number 92, and by Glenn Cadrez.
But they came out in a 2 tight end set, 1 back, and you could hear the audible call at the line, check opposite, check opposite. When you come out in that formation, it's being balanced. Normally they run to the left-hand side. When you hear the check opposite, it's kind of a standard call around the league. You hear that means you're going to run, obviously, to the opposite side. So a lot of defense can really key on some of these audibles.
Just got to look at Jerry Rome, the man who was the architect of this Houston offense. And head-on hits. Gary Brown takes on tacklers again. And again, Alan Aldridge is on a stop along with Braxton. And that brings up 3rd down and about 4.
Well, Gary Brown is just running very well. Sherman Smith, the running back coach, told us, you know, he really has gotten emotionally involved in the game this year since he came back. Spent a lot of time in the offseason working and trying to get in condition to come back. But he said he's the kind of guy he needs to get emotionally involved because he realizes more than anybody else that he hasn't proven anything yet.
Not since '93 when he had that tremendous year. 3rd down and where it's spotted, they'll need a good 5. Chandler looks, steps in, swings it out. What a catch, one-handed by Todd McNair. And he's down to the 13-yard line. So Todd McNair, who had a heartbreaking game last Sunday night against the Kansas City Chiefs when he fumbled late in the game and it was run back in for the deciding touchdown, makes a one-handed grab for first down.
Holding number 54, defense. It's decline.
Well,
first down.
Well, Jeff Fisher pulled him aside after that fumble, Don. and said, you know what? You're not the one guy doesn't cause this. You see here the one-handed snag. I mean, talking about there's only one way he could have made that with the one-handed catch just over the defender. But what an incredible job. But Fisher pulled him aside after that fumble and said, just wanted to get to him right away, let him know one man doesn't make or break a game.
He responds to the big play there for a first down. Chandler goes right back up top, fires hard to the end zone. It's incomplete. With 8:40 to play in the third quarter, he was looking at Haywood Jeffries, who's had a prolific career as a wide receiver for the Oilers. 3 times a Pro Bowler, had 100 receptions one year.
And normally you see Haywood is the guy who's the go-to guy during the course of really the course of the game. Sanders being the big play guy, but Haywood the possession guy. And today he's kind of changed roles.
They've been a double on him a lot of the day. Wycheck, the tight end, has really been making some plays. He has 4 catches. 3 of them on third down. Here's a throw up the middle. This is Jeffries, and he is in. With great balance, he goes in standing up. And the Oilers build on their lead to 34-17 with the extra point coming up.
Well, you're going to see left side of the screen, Frank Wycheck and Derek Russell run up the field. They drag Haywood Jeffries across the middle underneath those 2 guys, clearing that underneath zone for Haywood Jeffries. And as we said before, you get him the ball, he's going to make some things happen. Jeff Fisher, it's almost to the point where he's not getting that excited about touchdowns anymore. He's getting so many today.
Yeah, this is actually a couple weeks worth. More than that. Here is an extra point hit up and good by Del Greco. Haywood Jeffries with his 6th touchdown catch of this year. And the Houston Oilers continue to stun the Broncos 35-17. Denver has to move when we get back.
Sandwich. Get something you love for the holidays. By the U.S. Army. Learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be. And by UPS, the official package delivery company of the NFL.
With Bob Golick, this is Don Criqui back at the Astrodome in Houston, where the Oilers have just built their lead to 35-17. Yet another kickoff by Del Greco. And here's Glenn Milburn for the Broncos. He can play football. Glenn Milburn from Stanford breaks the big gainer when the Broncos need it so badly. This is a critical drive for Denver. Their season could be slipping away if they don't come back in this game. The NFL on NBC will continue in a moment with John Elway and the Bronco offense at work.
Connect to internet.
Vaak sa pera isandi?
I'm Activa from IBM. See and hear me at Radio Shack.
This isn't just any sport utility vehicle. It's the first one from a luxury car maker. With heated seats, retractable mirrors, and power moonroof. The new Acura SLX. It's the most civilized way to leave civilization.
Business is about as predictable as the weather. You never know when a storm's going to hit. But for those unpredictable problems...
And you need it when?
UPS has solutions so predictable, they're guaranteed. From same-day service in as little as 4 hours to overnight delivery as early as 8 a.m. Plus, guaranteed 2- and 3-day services. Whenever you want it there, wherever in the world you want it.
We're back in business.
Nobody offers as many on-time options as UPS. Nobody.
Olympic champion Svetlana Boginskaya leads the field as the world's gymnasts gather for Atlanta's first major international competition next Saturday on NBC.
Well, that was a very momentous catch for Haywood Jeffries. His 45th career touchdown and his 500th at the same time. 500th career reception.
Does that work out to about one touchdown every 12 receptions?
Yeah.
A bad day's work.
John Elway standing in, and now Elway throws and puts the ball in the hands of Terrell Davis, as you could hear the crash as he's hit by Blaine Bishop. This is the game that Shannon Sharp of the Denver Broncos said is the pivotal game of our season. We have to win it. And Denver, as you see how it stands now, Kansas City at 10-2 after losing on Thanksgiving at Dallas. Oakland at 8-3. They'll go at San Diego later. And the Broncos at 6-5. If the playoffs started before today's game, Denver would have been a wild card team playing at Pittsburgh. Boom goes big Aaron Craver, who's averaging almost 5 yards a rush, doesn't get the ball a lot. Big former Miami Dolphin is taken down by Michael Barrow.
You know what, Don, if anybody, and I'm talking personal experience, you brought it up before with the drive game, the fumble.
Yeah.
Anybody can bring a team back. John Elway's the guy, and everybody knows his reputation. Right now, the first half, they haven't been able to get anything going, but this guy can control an offensive drive better than anybody I've seen.
So many times Elway, when he's down by in the fourth quarter, he's got the opposition right where he wants him. 28 game-saving drives in his career in the fourth quarter as the Broncos go to Terrell Davis, and he takes it straight ahead, stopped on the play by Montgomery.
Well, he's got to mix it up well here. Terrell Davis this play, Aaron Craver the last play. Craver, who was a guy they had tried at halfback.
Elway checking for the sign from the sidelines. The Oilers offense with 353 total yards today. Denver with 269.
You see Terrell Davis with 90 yards, had 176 last week.
Anthony Miller could be a guy here. He's down at the lower left portion of your screen. Instead, they go to the run. Len Milburn looking for room, and he's taken down inside the 10-yard line by cornerback Darrell Lewis.
I'll tell you what, Lewis saved that play because Terrell Davis made a cutback, and you're going to see a great block by Anthony Miller sealing on the backside right there. But had Darrell Lewis not come up and made the play, that would have been a little more of a gain.
Len Milburn is now on the field again. One of the split backs. First and goal for the Broncos, who trail by 35-17. Elway's pass was tipped and almost intercepted by defensive end Kenny Davidson. Elway, who's already been intercepted twice today, sees the clock stop on the incomplete pass with 5:50 to go.
Well, they ran a little misdirection up inside play action. Didn't fool Davidson. Good pressure on Elway, and Blaine Bishop laying out trying to make a snag to stop this drive.
5:50 to go in the third quarter. Elway now sets his team. Oiler defense with less ground to defend. Straight ahead, and Terrell Davis works his way down close to the goal line. They don't give it to him. The Oilers got one early.
Yeah, you think they'd help him out on this one, but I think the thing that kept them out of the end zone was number 81, Mike Pritchard. Watch as he runs into the back of Pritchard here. Of course, his knees go down, but we remember that Rodney Thomas on that long touchdown, as you said before, his knees touching about the 1.5-2 yard line. They gave him that touchdown, but referees just not seeing it the same way this time.
Yeah, and that was a second and goal play, so it's now third and goal. Well, there's a four-down area, and they go over the top, and Aaron Craver breaks in. And the Broncos now make it a 35-23 game with Elam coming out for the extra point, as Elway may have begun another of his patented comebacks at quarterback for Denver.
Well, when you talk about John Elway and his comebacks, it always doesn't have to be John throwing the ball. It just so happens that those are the ones I've experienced
most of the time.
But here they are. He just really engineered a very good running drive, and they're going to go for 2 points to bring them within 10, which would bring them inside 10. It would be 9 points of the Houston Oilers.
Whistle slow, no play. Might have been illegal motion.
False start, number 84, prior to the snap.
So now they'll kick the extra point.
And Shannon Sharp set at tight end, just rocking into his forward in his stance, anticipating the block on a big defensive lineman. Hey, sometimes when you're not as big as those guys across from you, you have to look for any advantage you can. Now they'll be kicking it, and they'll be trying to make it 35 to 24.
With 5:06 to go in the third quarter, so this one has a long way to go, and the way it's been going, a lot of touchdowns to go. Elam, it snuck through, not by much. This is a guy who hit a career best 56 yards. Aaron Craver just on a payoff run from an in-close run to bring the Denver Broncos closer, the extra point, cutting the Houston lead to 11 points. In the third quarter, 5:06 to play in it. Here's Jason Elam kicking off now for the Broncos. A high spinner down to Mel Gray. Well-placed ball. He had to come over on it. And Mel Gray gets out to the 29-yard line. So Houston with an unusual offensive day, ready to go back on offense. We're back at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. 4:56 to play in the third quarter. The underdog Houston Oilers perhaps playing one of their final few games at the Astrodome. The speculation about them moving to Nashville continues to build. And right now, they're standing tall on their home field. There was talk, Bob, that they might not play well because of an emotional letdown, but this crowd has been charged throughout. Chandler rolls out, somehow escapes, and wisely ducks out of bounds. That gives us a chance to go to Greg Gumbel in New York to tell us about Vinny Testaverde doing some good work.
Real good work, Don. Cleveland down 17-3 at one point. Second and goal from the one. Testaverde goes into the end zone for the touchdown. The extra point ties it at 17 all as they wind down the third quarter at Cleveland Stadium. Back to Mr. Cricky and Mr. Golick.
Thank you, Greg. It was interesting, Bob, that when the Oilers played at Cleveland on the first home game for the Browns after their move was announced, and Browns were very flat, and the Oilers beat them 37-10. And this is the Oilers' first game at home since the announcement that they are probably heading to Nashville. Robbie Thomas back in. And Mike Lodish, former Buffalo Bill, number 97, stops him.
Well, the difference being, Don, they've known or heard rumors about the possible Nashville move since the preseason. Coach Jeff Fisher has had to deal with the players and the emotional aspect of the potential move. Since the preseason, he's had a chance to adapt them and get them used to the idea, whereas in Cleveland, basically that was a bombshell.
Yeah, wasn't it? You're from Cleveland. I mean, you grew up there. And
I was lucky enough to be doing that game, Don.
Oh, you did do that?
Oh, it was an ugly thing. The crowd was not happy.
Houston continues to excel on third down. They've converted 7 of 7 third down tries. This will be 3rd and 8. It looks like some Broncos got there early. This could be a personal foul call as Cadrez got to Chandler and threw him down.
Well, he blitzed the middle wide open because obviously the motion, a lot of guys not standing around, threw him down, and McNair taking tremendous exception to the treatment of his quarterback.
Offside, defense, still third down.
Well, you'll see Cadrez moving up into the middle, blitzing through as everybody's stopping because of the whistles except for Cadrez, and Todd McNair not happy that he's treating your quarterback like that.
Oh, you hurt him more if he fell on him. McNair threw him back. So instead of 3rd down and 8, it's now about 3rd down and 3. Incomplete to Haywood Jeffries, and the Oilers have to send out their punter. So John Elway and the Broncos are going to get it back.
Well, the one thing that Jeff Fisher said, he goes, our offense is going to have to stay on the field. We're going to have to we're going to have to keep the Denver Bronco offense off the field as long as possible. He was able to do that in the first half by getting some pretty good drives of his own. But now, Bronco defense tightening up and giving the ball back to John Elway.
Glenn Milburn, the excellent return man for Denver, is back. Here's a big rush. End over end punt, not too deep. Tough to handle, though. And it hit a Bronco coming down. And the ball is out of bounds at about the 31-yard line. Stayed in bounds. That was a live ball. Houston might have gotten it, but Elway will have it as he tries to mount a comeback.
Wendy's presents What's Hot. In Denver and New England, two surprising rookie runners have been blazing a path to stardom in 1995. The Patriots' Curtis Martin, a third-round draft pick, and the Broncos' Terrell Davis, a sixth-round choice, are both among the AFC leaders in rushing, yards from scrimmage, and touchdowns.
The end zone, Davis has a touchdown.
The sizzling performances of Curtis Martin and Terrell Davis.
Don Criqui with Bob Golick back at Houston. One of the speculated nicknames, Bob, if the Oilers do move to Nashville, and this is legit, is the Nashville Fiddlers. And Chris Dishman says that's the name that will strike fear into the hearts of our opponents.
Well, the Fiddlers, I don't know what the helmet's going to look like, but there was speculation. The players have talked about a potential nickname, and the nickname they came up with was the Outlaws. Now, we're going to have to go through American history and find out if there were actually outlaws in Tennessee. But I'm sure somebody did something wrong over there.
There was Bud Adams. There's some people around here think that move is a long way from done, though. The Broncos hope to be a long way from done. They run the ball with 2:58 to play in the third quarter. They're down in the game 35-24, a game that they call pivotal to their season. They come in with a 6-5 record. You're down the stretch run. You can't afford any 500 records at this late date.
And right now, the Oilers defensive front, which played so well against Kansas City, is really tightening up.
Elway gets it in, threads it in to his tight end, Shannon Sharp. And he's down to the 42-yard line. This is it.
Man, can he rifle the ball. I mean, this guy, John Elway, 35, 36 years old. And watch him just rifle over the middle to Shannon Sharp as he breaks out from coverage of the linebackers. Nice movement into the open zone. And John Elway, once again, what a great throw.
He keeps the Broncos alive as the drive renews with a first down at the 42-yard line. Swing pass, Terrell Davis. Now this guy could go to the 6th round. Is amazing. He looks like Emmett Smith out there, and it's great news that Emmett and the Cowboys got that his knee's okay, and he could even be in there against Washington next time they play.
Right. It was a scary moment, I'm sure, for all Dallas Cowboy fans. But you look at Terrell Davis, and some of the veterans noticed. They said, you know what, the thing about Terrell Davis is he doesn't have those rookie eyes. You know, where they see him walking around with their eyes real big, you know, kind of awed by everything going on. They said Terrell looks like he's been here for a long time.
He sure fit in right away. He's been a producer from day one in training camp, and now he puts both arms on the ball and takes it ahead on second and fairly short yardage down to the 33-yard line as the third quarter starts to wind out. Now we're down to a minute to play in it.
And have you noticed that he is very aware, very conscious when he's attacking the line of scrimmage? He does, most of the time, get both arms over the ball. Very protective of the rock, as they say.
He's actually been more productive as a pro player, much more productive on a per-carry basis than he was most of his career at Georgia. He just took to this game. 3rd and 2 for Elway. They set up a blitz. Pitch back goes to Davis, and he is going to be close. But he is short. So the clock ticks down to 20 seconds and running in the third quarter. And now what does Coach Shanahan do, Bob Golick?
Well, at this point, I think we still got time left. He's got a whole quarter to go. I don't think at this point you want to risk holding on to it
Field goal gets you within 8. Apparently going to let the clock run out, and if they do kick the field goal, they'll have the air conditioning with them. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Old friends, now adversaries on the field, the opposing coaches. Shanahan saying his team to go for it on 4th down. What do you think, Bob?
Well, Don, I'll tell you what, the way that the Broncos have been running with Terrell Davis, Aaron Craver, these guys, I feel they're sure to get this. These guys really haven't been able to be stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Craver and Davis are the backs behind Elway. 4th down and just over a yard. Elway was looking to draw him off. Didn't work. So he uses a timeout. And he's going to need the other 2 perhaps badly late in the game.
He made an audible, shifted in the backfield. Again, perhaps hoping to draw the defense off. But as a defensive player, you know, you sit there and you're told ahead of time, don't move.
All right.
Jeff Fisher very excited that his guys stayed on side.
Yeah. But that guy's right, the defensive huddle. I'll talk about don't move.
It's amazing what coaches go through emotionally. We saw him hardly react at all to a touchdown completion, and now he jumps up in the air because his guys didn't jump off sides.
And of course, if you're sitting in that don't move mold and they run a quick snap and somebody blows by you up the middle on a trap for 50 yards and a touchdown. Shanahan, an intense guy. He and Elway have been very close friends ever since his first tour of duty with the Denver Broncos. Houston crowd really kicks in. Tough to call signals. 4th down for the Broncos. They're down by 11 at the start of the 4th quarter. You were right, Bob. They got it, but barely, as Elway somehow got the handoff into Terrell Davis, who came out of the blocks like the man in the circus out of the cannon. He really hit the gap.
Well, Elway tripping, coming back out of his position. But watch Terrell Davis, and this is why he gets the first down, as he's done all day. He's hit, and then he has that extra explosion that he forces himself to get the extra yardage. We see the coaches, and there's Jeff Fisher obviously disappointed.
And Elway and the Broncos moving on. They go back to the run, and Aaron Craver, a big back, both arms on the ball. Number 90, Kenny Davidson, and number 23, Blaine Bishop, the strong safety, both combining on the stop.
Well, we got to remember the last drive that he had to bring them this close and score was on the ground. They really mixed it up nicely with both Terrell Davis and Aaron Craver carrying the ball.
The Broncos, in what they call a pivotal game in their season, down by 11. A lot of time left. 13:55 to play. Elway to Miller. He hangs on. He's just short of a first down. Had to get to the 20. He's down to the 21. Dishman hit him hard.
And good hands by Anthony Miller. You're going to see Chris Dishman just collapsing quickly on that quick slant, but Miller, as we all know, very sure-handed as a receiver.
That was real good hands. He was hit hard, held on. It's 3rd and short now. 3rd and 1. Again, the power set. Double tight ends. Pritchard goes in motion. Terrell Davis, first down Denver. He's not done till they blow that whistle. They are going to rule him down, though, at the 17-yard line. It was enough for a Bronco first down.
Well, he is just exploding. Watch the angle he hits this line with. I mean, the guy is just coming with a good body lean. Look at his shoulders down, just leading, rolling through. And like I said, hey, he didn't hear a whistle. He's up and running.
18 carries, 106 yards. Terrell Davis is now 11 yards short of a 1,000-yard season rushing the ball. Great fake by Elway. Now he looks and sees no one open and throws it away. I thought Terrell had it.
Boy, talk about a fake. Everybody bid on that one. And John, for a few seconds there, was wide open on that boot. You see him set the fake to the left side of your screen, coming back. Nobody really there until Henry Ford collapses late, but John knows when his guys are covered, and those will be another time to throw.
And a time to throw now on 2nd down and 10 from about the 18-yard line. 4th quarter, Denver down by 11. Houston with a stunning offense today. Big play after big play. Elway pump faking, again gets time. Loses the ball. His arm was coming forward. It is an incomplete pass, but it brings up a 3rd down and 10 now for the Denver Broncos.
Well, they went for he was going for Anthony Miller on that quick slant again. You're going to see him here looking for a secondary receiver. And then the ball just coming out as he forward arm motion, so it was the incomplete pass. But you got to give credit to Chris Dishman on that one. Dishman was set up in the same situation up against Anthony Miller, closed the gap quickly on Miller, and took that primary receiver away from him.
Elway on 3rd and 10 against the blitz. They give him some time. He delivers the number. Shannon Sharp then loses the ball. Let's see what the call is here. It's going to be ruled a penalty marker against the Broncos. In the backfield, might be holding. They're going to send out the field goal team, take some short points, and cut it to 8.
Holding, number 76, offense is declined. 4th down.
So they'll take the incomplete pass and try the field goal.
Well, you're going to see Broderick Thompson on the right on the left side of your screen there. Once again, as he gets forced past John Elway, wrapped around his neck.
And Jason Elam, machine-like, booms the ball through from 35 yards out to go with his 56-yarder earlier. The Broncos have come back to within 8. We're back. Jason Elam hitting a 35-yard field goal to inch the Broncos closer. They're down by 8. A lot of time to go, 12:08 to play. Mel Gray is back for the Oilers. Ball hit downfield to the 4. Mel Gray taken down on a good open field tackle, a special teams play. Coming in to make it was Drain Carswell. Next Sunday, the Oilers head into Three River Stadium to meet the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are currently up on the Browns by a field goal. Neil O'Donnell throwing to Cordell Stewart, the first-year player from Colorado that's really throwing shivers into defensive coordinators, because you got to practice all week all these special team steals that he's going to work. Special formations. They use them all over the field. AFC Central's in looks today. Pittsburgh is winning, but by 3. Cincinnati has won at Jacksonville. And Houston is leading here, 35-27. Throw up the middle, and the ball is lost. But now a penalty marker comes in after the drop by Frank Wycheck, who'd caught the first 4 balls thrown to him today.
Well, Dave Wyman looked like he hit Wycheck a little bit early as he crossed the middle. The middle linebackers aren't normally your strongest coverage guys.
92 defense. 1st down.
Yeah, he felt Wycheck crossing, and as he closed, you know, they're not as good in coverage as other guys, so his timing on reacting to the throw was a little bit off, hitting Wycheck before the ball got to him. Dave Wyman saying, hey, my job is to fill the hole and stuff the runner. Quit throwing the ball at me.
That's right. Is a handoff straight ahead, and another marker is thrown in as Rodney Thomas drives straight ahead. It's interesting, Bob, last week when the Broncos had a big lead, as there was a hold signaled against Houston, 21-0 and then 24-7 over San Diego. And then they had a rally after the Chargers came back to tie the game. Elway, known for his come-from-behind win, said this was a come-from-ahead win.
Never had a loss for words, is he?
But you know him well over the years. I mean, you...
Holding, 74, offense. Still 1st down.
He doesn't seem to have lost anything, does he?
No, he doesn't. You know, and going into the season, a lot of people, there was speculation and reports about that his knees were deteriorating. He wasn't going to be able to move the way he did. And as the season started off, a lot of people came up and said, so what's the truth of all this? And he's like, I don't know what people are talking about. I feel as good as I did last year, ready to come back, strong arms, strong legs, ready to play football.
Somebody said he's old for a quarterback at age 35, young for a car dealer. He's got a lot of franchises out in the Denver area. Here's a blitz, and Chandler gets it away.
Oh! Oh! My.
He stepped out of bounds. Boy, they're talking this over. It might be a touchdown. They haven't made an official call. Jeff Fisher thinks it's 6.
Chris Chandler.
Somebody's got to be looking.
Rushed.
I mean, the Broncos' playoff chances could largely hang in the balance on this call. They're going to have a hard time coming back if that's a touchdown.
Well, let's take a look and see if we can see what they're talking about. We see the ball coming in against Crockett. Crockett bumping him, and I think that's initially where the flag came from. But Sanders...
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, he stepped out of bounds.
Stepped out of bounds. Oh, Johnny Greer now makes the official pronouncement.
One of the officials on the field ruled that the player stepped out of bounds, and he blew his whistle.
Well, if Jeff saw what we saw, I don't know that he'd be getting that excited, because it did look like he was out of bounds. If you take a look at it one more time, you're going to see here a flag was thrown. I think that's where it was thrown, on Crockett bumping into Sanders. But watch as Sanders is trying to get his bearings on the ball, and you see his foot step out.
Boy, this guy can run fast. He was into the end zone. I mean, he was like a rocket.
And I don't know. In fact, they marked it up there, but I don't know that he even had possession before his foot went out of bounds.
Yeah, that's another good point. But at any rate, it is ruled a catch, stepped out of bounds. It is a first down for the Oilers as they leave with 11:02 to play. Lead by 8. Chandler takes a look, swings it out near side. Rodney Thomas is hit high. Is there a penalty marker? Apparently not. Atwater came over and got him.
Well, you know, Jeff Fisher was pretty excited as we take another look here. Atwater, known for his hits, working against Rodney Thomas, and a lot of people, like players especially, excited about the hit because it looked like he was out of bounds.
He's still down.
Rodney Thomas had ran out of bounds. He was about a good 1.5 yards, 2 yards out of bounds when Atwater hit him. But we can see that it's getting a little heated out here.
It's at least that. And could get more. This is the Broncos' first appearance in the Astrodome since '91, when Houston won going away that day. And it looked like that might be the case today, as the Oilers, after falling behind 3-0 on a 56-yard field goal, came roaring back, built a lead of 35-17 at one point. Now they're up by 8.
The BLT. It's an Tom Weiss Golf and more. Team up with their sons for the inaugural Office Depot Father-Son Challenge, a family affair, next weekend on NBC.
Well, Oilers head coach Jeff Fisher very upset that he didn't get a touchdown in this play, but he should be very thankful that he got the 20-yard gain that he got, because you'll see right here, Chris Sanders steps out of bounds, does not have possession of the ball, although they marked it there, and that's where they took possession for to continue this drive.
So he did step out of bounds, and the Oilers were really beneficiaries of a 20-yard gain. Here's Chandler going deep. And I think we got a man, Sanders, run out of bounds again. Lionel Washington running with him. He fired his hat down. It'll go as an incomplete pass.
Yeah, Sanders played this smart. He felt that he got pushed out. He knew he stepped out of bounds at that point. You could see he was just kind of playing not for the ball at that point, because you can't go out and come back in without the flag being thrown. See Rodney Thomas up and moving around after taking that shot on the sidelines from Steve Atwater.
Third down and 6. Broncos bring people up in the gaps to blitz Chandler. There's a throw and a catch. Todd McNair makes the play. First down, Oilers to the 42-yard line of Denver.
Now, I understand they want to put pressure on Chandler, but right now you bring all these guys, you bring a linebacker, you bring in a safety. It's open. Look at the underneath. You've got a one-on-one matchup right there. If McNair's got the speed to get the separation and make the catch, they took a big chance in trying to get to Chandler, and they failed.
It was a big chance.
And that's where the frustration is building with this Denver defense right now. They know they've got to get the ball back into the hands of John Elway if they have any chance.
Critical game for the Broncos, who would come out of here at 6-6 with 4 to play if they lose it. Down by 8. Handoff. Straight ahead run. Gary Brown breaks it ahead for a gain of about 7 or 8 yards. Stopped by Atwater. Now the Oilers looking, I think, about to take some time off the clock.
And the defense are trying everything up front, filling the holes. Wyman, you see the lineman, the middle linebacker filling, but a nice gap opening up. Gary Brown, you know, he's very good. Him and Rodney Thomas both at getting up to the line. And as Jeff Fisher mentioned, they kind of can move like sand crabs. They get up there to the line, then they kind of move laterally for about 3-4 yards and then explode again upfield.
And he did that for 8 yards on the play. You see the game clock ticking on down to 9:15 to play. Oilers with the ball, up by 8 points. Throw in the flat. Ball is taken in. Travis Hanna's ahead. It's a first down for Houston. Ray Crockett makes the stop. But the Oilers get new downs, and they keep the clock running inside of 9 minutes to play.
Great ball control offense right here. Such a quick shot to Travis Hanna. Ray Crockett kind of caught a little flat-footed. Hanna making a move inside, but talk about Chandler really utilizing his receivers well in this short ball control type of offense, including the running backs in.
Rodney, where a report is fine. He's okay after he was hit hard on the sideline. Now Gary Brown ready to run the ball for the Houston Oilers on first down and 10 at the 23-yard line of Denver. Brown cutting back. And he's to the 16-yard line. Marion Butts actually got the call. So the Oilers moving at their leisure now, looking to take time off to keep the ball away from Elway. They keep running it, and they hold a 35-27 lead. Lionel Washington shaken up.
Well, the Denver defense playing very aggressive now to the front side. You know, they see the ball starting to their left side of the field. They're attacking that side very aggressively. They cut it back to the open hole.
The NFL on NBC continues after this.
Well, the injured player was Lionel Washington trying to make the tackle here, but watch the hit. Steve Atwater puts on Marion Butts, and add insult to injury. Everybody falls on top of Lionel. Been having a rough day so far today.
Chandler stands in on second down. His ball is slapped down, and the penalty marker comes in from the secondary. Jeffries pointing at a Bronco defensive back. We'll see if there's any interference call.
Well, they got to be getting tired up front because the defense for the Broncos.
Holding on a defense. It's a first down for the Oilers. A critical penalty.
I'm telling you, this as a defensive player, this can break your morale. You've been sitting there.
Holding, number 39, defense. First down.
Ray Crockett called. But as a defense, you've been fighting so hard, trying to stop this drive, trying to get the ball back in the hands of the only guy that can save this game for you. And then things like this happen. Man, I'll tell you what, it takes the wind out of you.
Houston, 24th ranked offense, just one offensive touchdown in each of its last 2 games, 5 touchdowns today to lead the favored Broncos by a 35-27 score. Fourth quarter, to the run. Taking on tacklers and all the way down is to the 5-yard line is big, tough Marion Butts, who scored once today. Simon Fletcher finally gets him, but he gets close.
And there's the Marion Butts I remember from the playing days. The guy who ripped my shoulder out of the socket. Watch as he just powers his way through Simon Fletcher, Braxton. I mean, he is just rolling people over.
That must have been a momentous hit. Your shoulder came out, huh?
Yeah, you know, it was okay. 10 minutes later, I was fine. But the one thing you see the Oilers doing right now, using clock. Keeping the ball on the ground, running the clock down.
Yeah, the great Elway is powerless to score for his team as he has to watch from the sidelines. And up to Butts. He's close. He's in. Touchdown, Houston. With 6:49 to play. It's 41-27 with the extra point coming up.
And when your running backs are running well, look at the way the offensive line, they get excited. Look at them just getting the push up front. You got Michael Dean Perry making a tackle 5 yards deep in the end zone. You know that offensive line of the Oilers is doing its job.
The offensive line of the Oilers has been terrific. Mark Stepnotsky, the center for the Oilers in that drive. The ex-Dallas Cowboy making a lot of blocks. Kid's never off his feet. Blocks 2 people in a lot of plays. And the extra point is hit up and good. It's 42-27. An unlikely score as the Oilers have built the big lead again.
Fell on NBC.
Don Criqui with Bob Golick back at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, where the Oilers have scored their 6th touchdown of this day. Michael Dean Perry looks on. Elway and the Bronco offense will be coming out, and they'll be firing on every down. Down by 15 points. They need 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions, perhaps. As Glenn Milburn runs it back and gets it out to the 39-yard line. And a reminder, a big programming note from NBC tonight. NBC's Thanksgiving extravaganza continues with the super hit Jurassic Park, one of the greatest motion pictures of all time, from director Steven Spielberg. It's coming to NBC tonight at a special time, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central Mountain and Mountain Time at Jurassic Park here on NBC.
You mean I might be able to get back in time for the dinosaurs?
Yeah, you might be there. You played against a few of them. Now you watch them. A couple of mastodons trying to put a rush on Elway here as he drops, throws it over the middle, and look at that hit. Eddie Robinson with a big hit on Terrell Davis, and that'll make a gain of only about a yard, if that.
Just good reaction by Robinson, who for the Oilers has really been a guy they've utilized not just in coverage, but they've been using him as a blitzer quite a bit too, and they've been able to try and get in there and lock him up. Being a free agent after the season, they want to lock him up before the offseason.
Throw, and Aaron Craver moves ahead, gets a first down for the Broncos, and then steps out of bounds smartly to stop the clock with 6 minutes to play.
Well, not only is the 2-minute or the quick offense something John Elway does well in his comebacks, but also you got to take into account too that a lot of times the defenses, and I hesitate to use the term prevent, but they'll sit back and try and give them the underneath, but you can't do that with John.
John just went past Joe Montana in all-time career passing yardage. He becomes 5th all-time. 5:43 to play as the Broncos keep the Houston defense honest, sending a runner right at them. And that will bring up 2nd down and 7.
Well, they're taking out Glenn Montgomery and Gary Walker and putting Craig Vesey and Josh Evans on the inside of the defensive line, hoping to get some fresh legs to get some pressure on Elway.
Elway throw and a catch. It'll be short of the first down by 2 yards and bring up 3rd down as he guns the ball with that tight spiral into the hands of Shannon Sharp.
Like I said, so many times you see these defenses sitting back. The Oilers really aren't doing it. They're not giving them much underneath. They're really closing on quick on the underneath receivers.
And that prevent defense they talk so much about prevents a team from winning.
That's right.
They're continuing to attack on defense. Elway goes to the end zone. He has a man. Touchdown to Anthony Miller. It's as pretty as they get. A perfect throw arcing into the hands of Anthony Miller, who again makes the deep run.
Well, we got Anthony Miller working up against Chris Dishman. Dishman running with him, keeping his eye on the quarterback a little bit long, letting Miller just, with the body position, get the extra speed into the end zone. And, you know, we talked about Elway not having much time to do it. Well, he's proven that he doesn't really need that much time.
It didn't take long, and Anthony Miller now has a career-high 11th touchdown catch of this season. His best year at San Diego, he hit 10.
They're going for 2.
Yeah, going for 2. Elway on a sprint out. Here comes the rush. He lobs it too high for Shannon Sharp. No good. And it's a 9-point lead for the Oilers with 4:50 to go.
Well, they went with 4 wide receivers. Michael Barrow, you're going to see from his middle linebacker position, getting pressure on John Elway. John just had to lay it up in the corner, hope Shannon Sharp could get it, but not in a good enough position.
So stay tuned. We're not done with the scoring at the Astrodome as the NFL on NBC continues.
The Anthony Miller touchdown pass. Anthony Miller working against Chris Dishman. Chris Dishman just doesn't take his head off of the quarterback, doesn't allow him to run at full speed, and Miller, with a good body position, just beats him in the end zone. Great throw by John Elway, as usual.
And so far in this game, Bob, we have a combined 830 yards total offense between the two teams.
Oh, my gosh.
Oilers, the 24th ranked offense in the NFL with almost 450 yards offense. Elway now waiting on the sideline for his next chance. And we'd like to welcome all of you who've just watched the Pittsburgh Steelers up their record at 8-4 with the win over the Cleveland Browns 20-17. Don Criqui with Bob Golick at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, where we've had a day of big plays, and the surprising offense of the Houston Oilers has prevailed so far as they've outscored Denver 42-33. John Elway just hit Anthony Miller for a second time for a touchdown. Now the Oilers run back the kickoff, and Mel Gray does a full gainer. Here's the most recent touchdown.
Once again, Anthony Miller working against Chris Dishman. Watch Dishman. Dishman's head never leaves the quarterback. He's not running at full speed. Because of that, Miller just walks away from him. And as usual, as John's done to so many people, John Elway's done to so many people, a nice throw to Anthony Miller for a touchdown.
John Elway, who just before that touchdown throw went over Joe Montana's mark and moved into 5th place in the all-time passing yardage. He doesn't even know that yet, and he's not concerned about it. He just wants to get back on the field and get the ball back. And this is some of the big plays we've had today. Chris Sanders, a first-year wide receiver from Ohio State, has been sensational. He has caught 2 touchdown passes today for the Houston Oilers. He grew up in Denver, Colorado. Rodney Thomas, Oiler runner. He has come up with 107 yards rushing. Terrell Davis, that sensational rookie who's almost at 1,000 yards for the season, has had a big day again for Denver.
And here's the last touchdown by Marion Butts, brought in a few weeks back by the Houston Oilers. Really capped off that last drive of the Oilers. The Denver defense trying to stop that drive, trying to get John Elway back in the field, but couldn't do it. The Oilers move up another 7.
The game has developed and unfolded in a very unlikely manner. The Oilers came in with a 24th ranked offense in the NFL, and today they have almost 450 yards rushing and have scored 6 touchdowns. They only had 1 touchdown in each of their last 2 games.
Well, they started off amazingly with that man right there. Rodney Thomas breaks it off the right tackle, bounces to the outside. You see 11 rushes, 107 yards. I believe 74 of those yards came on one of his first plays from scrimmage for a touchdown. An incredible start for the Oiler offense, and really set the tempo for the rest of this game. Not long after that, the next series, Chris Chandler, a long pass. The next series, 2, Chris Chandler, long pass to Chris Sanders for a touchdown. Has been a day of big plays.
We're still unable to spot who's down on the kick. It's Mel Gray, the kick returner, the Pro Bowl kick returner, as you saw, was upended, went flying head over heels as he was hit. And it looks like they're looking at one of his legs, so we'll hope that Mel, who's one of the great kick returners in the recent years in the NFL, 3 times a Pro Bowl player with Detroit, is all right. It's been an important factor all season long. With 4:40 left to go, still a lot of times left. And we'd like to welcome all of you who have watched the Jets and Seattle today, as the Jets come up with just their 3rd win of the season and end the 3-game winning streak of the Seattle Seahawks. This is Don Criqui with Bob Golick. We got a shootout here in the Astrodome, where the Houston Oilers, with an offense that's done very little this year until now, has erupted today for 6 touchdowns over the favored Denver Broncos.
Once again, we see the last touchdown by the Denver Broncos. John Elway to Anthony Miller. John Elway, in his own way, trying to bring this team back. And right now, the Houston Oilers are going to have possession of the ball. That Denver defense is going to be up to them to shut them down and get the ball back in the hands of this man.
We'll check the game summary. Chris Sanders, a wide receiver in his first year from Ohio State, who was a high school track champion in Colorado. He has made some sensational plays today. Almost had a 3rd touchdown. It was ruled he stepped out of bounds, but he has 5 catches for 140 yards, 47 yards, 2 TDs. Rodney Thomas, rookie runner. He has over 100 yards rushing for the Oilers. And there's Anthony Miller. Anthony Millions, they call him in Denver. Signed the huge contract when he came over from the Chargers as a free agent. And he has 2 touchdown catches today, one of 50 yards and then one a short time ago that brought Denver back to within 9 points, but they missed the 2-point conversion as Mel Gray is still down. Injury coming after the last touchdown catch by Miller on this subsequent kickoff return.
Well, Mel Gray just trying to follow his wedge up the middle. You can see him upended at the end of the play. Kind of coming down on his shoulder, but it looked like he took a shot on the knee as he tried to jump over the pile, and having the cart come out is definitely not a good sign.
So Mel Gray will have to go off on the cart. It has been an unusual day in Houston. You all know the story about the impending move of this franchise to Nashville, Tennessee. This is the Oilers' first home game since that announcement, and there was some speculation it would be a very funereal surroundings here, but it's very much unlike that. This crowd has really kicked in as support of the Oilers with standing ovation after standing ovation as they continue to develop and deliver big plays, something their offense has been devoid of all season. Houston has really been a sensational offensive team today.
And right now, you look at the 2 offenses and how they've been working today, and you look at the score. Well, time of possession today, the Houston Oilers 27 minutes 35 seconds. Denver Broncos 27 minutes 35 seconds.
And here's a reminder that following this game on most of these NBC stations, it's Unsolved Mysteries. Then it's Mad About You, followed by one of the greatest motion pictures of all time, Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park. Viewers on the West Coast will see these shows at their regularly scheduled times.
And tonight's going to be a special time for the movie for Jurassic Park. It's going to be at 8:30.
8:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Central. Jeff Fisher, the youngest head coach in the NFL, sees one of his best players, unfortunately, have to be taken on the cart from the field, the kick returner Mel Gray. Now the Houston offense, which has been operated beautifully by its veteran quarterback Chris Chandler, will try to run some clock with 4:40 left to play in the game.
And now it's not in the hands of John Elway. Hopefully this Denver defense has gotten some rest from the last drive.
Chandler goes to the run, and to the rookie from Texas A&M, Rodney Thomas, as the Broncos defense keying on him. And now we have the Broncos using a timeout, and they have just 1 left. So Mike Shanahan, he's up against it now. The Bronco players talking about this being the pivotal game of their season. They came in with a 6-5 record, and if they come out of it with a loss and fall to 6-6 with 4 to play, they could be in deep trouble from a playoff standpoint, as Miami now is at 6-6.
This is a good call by Mike Shanahan. You know, you've got to make a decision here. You know the Oilers are going to stay on the ground. They're going to try and eat some clock up by having Rodney Thomas, by having Gary Brown run the ball, pound it up inside. And right now the Broncos can't afford to have too much clock run off. So they know that their quarterback, John Elway, is a guy that can probably do more with less time and no timeouts than anybody in this game.
There's John Elway pacing the sidelines, 35 years old. And someone said he's old for a quarterback, young for a car dealer. That's his other business in Denver.
He's only got about 7 of them.
He's been picked off twice today. This has been a big day for the Oilers, though. Their young coach, Jeff Fisher, said that the effort and emotion and chemistry have all been there, but the results have not. And he thought his team was going to play a big game, and they have. Their best offensive day of the season. Here's a hard hit by the All-Pro safety Steve Atwater, and the Broncos use their final timeout.
Well, once again, it's Steve Atwater on Marion Butts. And they had, the Denver Bronco defense had everybody up in the line of scrimmage. All the linebackers on the line, filled all the holes. Marion Butts trying to squeak off tackle, but watch Steve Atwater come up here. We saw the hit he made on him before earlier in the game. Here, another one. Steve Atwater, one of the hardest hitting safeties in the league, knocking down the big back Marion Butts and having the foresight to call the timeout.
And that was it for timeout for the Denver Broncos. As we look now at the AFC Central standings, Pittsburgh with its win today ups its record to 8-4. The Bengals, the winner at Jacksonville, now 5-7. Houston, if they hold on, could go to 5-7. And Cleveland and Jacksonville out of the running at this point. The Denver Broncos came into the AFC West as the third-place team. Kansas City now 10-2. Oakland at 8-3. They'll go next at San Diego, and then Denver 6-5 starting this day. With a win at 7-5, they'd be in good position to win their way into the playoffs. With a loss, their season gets very short. They're starting to run out of road.
As we said, going into the game, they would have gone in had the playoffs started now as a wild card team. But there's still a lot of games left for them to be knocked out of that contention, starting right here.
Yeah, if the playoffs had been after 11 weeks, it would have been Denver at Pittsburgh in a wild card game. Here's a throw downfield and a catch. As Tyrone Braxton comes up and hits Derek Russell.
They've got a flag down. I've got to say it's Michael Dean Perry or one of the interior linemen really crowding the line of scrimmage, trying to get a jump on getting after Chris Chandler.
Signal against the defense. Offside. San Francisco has just routed St. Louis 41-13.
You can see in the middle of the line right here. Look at Michael Dean Perry. Just crouched a little jump on when he heard the inflection of the voice on the cadence, and that's what they called.
Offside, defense, the nose guard. Still third down.
Well, they just want to pick on nose guards. They just leave us alone. Don't they know we have a hard job?
And Michael Dean's had a big day today. He's been in the backfield a lot.
They say that he has progressed. Early injury early in the season. He has gotten better and better every single week. Is so good at penetrating. He's the guy that can come up with a big play for him right now.
Been a lot of big downs in this game. This is one of them. Third down. Oilers with a first down, and Denver with no timeouts can take a lot of clock off. They get it. They start fresh with 4 downs at their 36-yard line.
Well, the Denver defense is tired. They're crowding. They got the linebackers up. But look at the push of the offensive line. Look at Brad Hopkins, Bruce Matthews. These guys are just driving guys off the field. Herb Eatman blocking 5 yards downfield. You got to know these guys are knocking some people off the line of scrimmage.
And a lot of big hitters in this game today. Continues. Denver's trouble on the road continues. They're 5-1 this season at Mile High Stadium. They lose this, they'll be 1-5 on the road, and a 500 team for the season with 4 to play. And the run, Marion Butts, who's been in the end zone today for the Houston Oilers, the former Charger and New England Patriot. He's stopped by Atwater, but the Broncos now powerless to stop the clock as it ticks down to 3:20 and running.
And Chris Chandler will just take his time. You see the frustration in Mike Shanahan. His whole theory about taking the timeouts defensively was that they needed to stop them. They needed to force them to punt the ball. Now they got the first down. There's nothing he can do about it except hope the defense can force them to punt.
These two young coaches, both were coaching mates, if you will, together at the 49ers for 2 years. Mike Shanahan working with the Niners offense. Jeff Fisher with the defense are very close friends. Fisher just 37 years old, Shanahan 42, as the give goes straight ahead to Marion Butts, sure-handed with both arms on the ball. He takes it out to the 42-yard line, and the clock ticks down as Denver sees perhaps its season and its hopes for a playoff certainly less and less if they come out of this with a 6-6 record, as Elway keeps pacing the sidelines, waiting to get back in there.
And I can't say this enough. It's like when the ball starts on the 38-yard line and when the play's over, the offensive linemen for the Oilers are standing on the 41-yard line, 3 yards downfield. you got to know that they're doing something to that line of scrimmage.
One of the big aspects of this Houston success story today, Bob, has to be their third down conversion.
Yeah, Houston, 9 out of 10 in converting on third down. An amazing number. They've done some beautiful work, not just in the pass game, but I think mostly on the ground. They have utilized not only Rodney Thomas, who we've seen make some big plays, but Gary Brown and then Marion Butts coming in the second half.
When this game ends, and there's 2:07 to play in it now, we'll be going to New York to Greg Gumbel, Mike Ditka, and Joe Gibbs for a complete NFL on NBC post-game report. All the scores and highlights of the day. And then we go to one of the big prime times of the season. It all begins with a reminder that Unsolved Mysteries leads the way. Then it's Mad About You, followed by one of the greatest motion pictures of all time, Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park. Viewers on the West Coast will see these shows at their regularly scheduled times.
Except for the special time for Jurassic Park, which will allow me probably get home in time to see some of it, starting at 8:30 tonight, Eastern Time, 7:30 Central, probably 8:30 Pacific where I'm going.
It is 8:30 Pacific.
Good.
Now the Oilers with third down coming up. As you pointed out, Bob, they've converted 9 of 10. Atwater, man alive. He came in from a free safety up there like a linebacker. This guy's making great plays for years and years. 5 times an All-Pro player. And we'll be back to the Astrodome as the NFL on NBC continues.